Training isn't about fixing your dog. It's about helping them, and in doing so, creating a better life together. My name's Ian. I'm the founder of Bomba Behaviorist, and I don't train dogs. I help people and their dogs live happier and healthier lives together. If you're struggling with your dog or unsure on how to create the life you want to live with them, then you're not alone. We're seeing more dogs with behavior issues, mental health issues, emotional health issues than ever before. That does not have to be the case for you and your dog though. You can learn how to support them, how to help them with their behavior, and how to enjoy your time with them. It's easy to see how people might get overwhelmed with all of the information out there, the sheer volume of it, and often it's conflicting, often it's outdated, and sometimes it's just really bad practice. But with the right information, you can make a difference. When you step back and stop looking at the behavior in isolation and you look at the lifestyle in general and overall, you can create a unique training plan specific to you and your dog's needs. Over the years, as my experience has grown, I've learned so much, both on the job and in formal education. I've studied things like applied behavior analysis, applied ethology. I've studied things like neuroscience. I've sat in with vets and veterinary behaviorists to understand the medical model and how that affects behavior. I've studied training and behavior. And over time, I've actually helped over 4,000 families and their dogs. For me, as much as I love helping the dogs, I also love helping the people. I understand that it's an entire family dynamic. People call me when they're struggling. And so I believe that they need as much support as their dog does. I believe people bring dogs into their lives for joy and for happiness, to make them and their dogs happy. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to be easy or that it's always going to go to plan. I see people struggling because the information out there that's still being pushed so prominently is outdated and sometimes even harmful. I see the two extremes being pushed when it comes to leadership. You've got one end of the scale, people going, you've got to be dominant, you've got to be the pack leader. You've basically got to rule your dog and teach them that they are subordinate to you. And then the other end of the spectrum, I'm hearing some people getting told that they can't even say no to their dogs, which completely disempowers people. It's got to have a healthy balance. I still see people over and over again mistaking hyperarousal for energetic, and people overdoing it with their dogs, especially when it comes to exercise. The old notion that a tired dog is a happy dog still being pumped out there, and so many dogs are absolutely exhausted. And I still see an over-reliance on the old school obedience model, where if you train your dog to listen to your every command, then you're going to be able to live the perfect life with your dog. I used to believe all of these things. I was brought up to believe these things, and I used to practice these things. I used to teach people these things many years ago. I was rigid in my thinking in that this is the way that people should be living with their dogs. I've learned that, yes, we have to demonstrate leadership, but it should be healthy leadership. We should be taking responsibility for their learning, setting them up to succeed, and knowing when to push, when to help them to grow, but also when to back off and accept that sometimes they need a break. When it comes to communicating with our dogs, I come to learn that obedience just doesn't cut it. We used to think of it as a monologue. We used to instruct and a dog must obey. But nowadays we've got to see it more as a dialogue. We can see if the dog can do something for us. But if they don't, then we've got to take ownership of that as the caregiver and go, why? And ask ourselves, have we set them up to succeed? Have we trained it well enough? Are they in pain? What is the reason they're not doing the behavior? And adjust our expectations accordingly. Yeah, of course we want them to listen, but at the same time, we've got to respect that there's two sides to the conversation. I've learned that exercise is just a small facet of their overarching enrichment needs. When we zoom out and look at everything holistically, what we see is that exercise is important, but it's no more important than their mental health, than their emotional health, than everything else that they need to live a fully enriched life. But what we do see all the time is people compromising the other things in the name of exercise, which just isn't helpful. Things like quick fixes, misinformation, information that doesn't take into account the actual lifestyle of the dog and the individual circumstances is preventing people from actually making significant, meaningful changes with their dog's lives. But if you don't want that to be you, if you can see the poor communication, poor leadership, unmet enrichment needs are at the bottom of unwanted behaviors, then you're in the right place. What I do is teach a really simple framework. We start with understanding why the behavior happens in the first place. That way, when we're creating the plan, you can be confident that it's actually addressing the things that need to be addressed. The plan itself consists of creating healthy communication, emotional health, physical health, setting them up to succeed, learning what to do proactively, learning how to respond in the difficult moments, and learning what not to do to make sure that you're not accidentally making the situation worse. And at all times, I'm on hand to be there for you for support and guidance. The results are that we start to see dogs enjoy their lives again. We see anxious dogs feel safe, learn how to drop their guard and relax again. We see fearful dogs grow in confidence. We see dogs' resilience increase. We see reactive dogs enjoy their walks again. We see dogs that don't enjoy social interaction start to feel comfortable in their own skin again. We start to see people enjoying their dogs again. We start to see people actually be able to breathe while they're handling their dogs and enjoy their walks. We start to see people and their dogs living better lives. This framework works, and it's helped over 4,000 people and their dogs over the years. And one of the reasons why it works is because there's no arbitrary rules. It's designed to be flexible to individual circumstances, the lifestyles of each individual, the needs of the dog, the way that the family want to live with their dog. Ultimately, it comes down to how do we get the best out of this particular situation around health and happiness. It's not about doing things for the sake of doing them. And when we see people adopt this methodology, we see people truly enjoy their dogs again. We see them enjoy the experience again. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see quick fixes in our dogs, because our dog's behavior isn't something just to be fixed. Just like our own behavior, it can take a little bit of time, especially if they're really struggling with stress, fear, or anxiety. But ultimately, what it does do is it helps people understand and empathize where the dog is coming from. It means we're going to set everybody up to succeed. And so day to day, you're not doing things that compromise you or compromise your dog. So you can truly enjoy the journey. And this brings me to the starter program. It's absolutely perfect for anybody looking to start making a change in their dog's behavior, or just getting the ball rolling on creating the life you want to live with your dog. It includes 2 consultations, a 2-hour initial where we get to know the situation and create the crux of the plan, and a 45-minute follow-up to make sure that you're implementing things effectively. And we can always tweak things, of course, because they're living things and not everything moves linearly. There's direct access, 4 weeks, complimentary access to the online learning library, and a direct access to a support channel so you can reach out to me and get the support you need at any time. If you do need additional follow-ups, you can book them ad hoc as and when you need them. So get the ball rolling, sign up today, and you won't regret it.